here. Let's see. Okay. Thanks for being patient with me. Okay. I am really excited to talk about this topic. It's something that I've been working really hard on, and I'm excited to share some of the things that I've learned. I want to start with one of my favorite quotes. If you've been in our community for very long, it's one that you've probably heard, but I think it's such an important quote and cannot be repeated often enough. And it's by a man named Viktor Frankl. He was a neurologist, a psychologist, and also a Holocaust survivor. And what he said is, between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. And we live in a time where we expect everything to be instantaneous. We look for instant gratification, instant relief from discomfort, instant results, instant answers. But unfortunately, instant doesn't always mean lasting. If we really want lasting results or lasting understanding, lasting change and growth, we need to learn to slow things down and create some space between an event and the way that we respond to it. So for most of us, when something happens, we're just used to responding immediately. We just accept our thoughts as truth and we react, as we always have. So think about some of the triggers that we have in a day. It might be crazy traffic that triggers some anger, maybe some honking, maybe some gestures that aren't so friendly. Or maybe the trigger is your neighbor bringing over a plate of cookies, and before you know it, you've eaten the entire plate. Maybe it's coming home to a messy house and immediately yelling at your family. So all of those are examples of instant reactions to stimulus. But to make changes, it's really important to understand the way our brains work. So we're just going to simplify things here, but basically we have three parts to our brain. The first and most basic part of our brain is called the lizard brain. It's what we call the lizard brain. And it takes care of our automatic functions like breathing, moving, seeing. And it's the part of our brain that takes care of basic instincts like hunger, thirst, and survival. So the next area of our brain is what we call the Labrador brain. And it's the part, it's also called our limbic system, but it's the part that allows us to have emotions. This is where loyalty, fear, flight, comfort, all happens, and where our love for food and our family comes in. And this part of our brain is really there to seek pleasure and to avoid discomfort. There's no morals there to that part of the brain. Then the last area of the brain that we want to talk about is our human brain. And it's the last part of our brain to develop. It's the newest part, and it's called the prefrontal cortex, or like I said, the human brain. But this is where our thinking, our willpower happens, our discipline, our mindfulness. This is where we create goals and work towards them. But the important thing to remember is that everything has to pass through this part of our brain. So let's take a look at how this stimulus versus response can work in our brains. So one example would be seeing or smelling something that we really like, something good. So the lizard part of our brain, it's our stomach rumbles, we feel hunger pains. And if we stop at the Labrador part of our brain, that Labrador part of our brain is going to see we may never get food again, eat now and eat as much as you can. And that's something that we're used to, right? We're used to just grabbing that piece of food, grabbing the quick, grabbing the convenient. That part of our brain wants us to get rid of that discomfort really quickly. But if we're not self-aware and we're not careful, then our lower brain is going to create that emotion, and we just react without ever consulting the human thinking brain. So what would it look like to put some space between the stimulus and the response? In our life book, in our Habits of Health, we learn about stop, challenge, choose. And what that means is that we're voluntarily stopping when we have a stimulus come up or when we feel triggered, and we delay that response. We spend some time questioning those thoughts and thinking about it and responding based on what our higher goals are and what we're really wanting to create. This takes a lot of practice, But the more that we are practicing, the more that we're working on that, it's just like lifting weights. We're building a muscle and we're strengthening that skill. And over time, the easier it becomes to spend a little bit of time pausing and thinking about what it is you really want. So as a client, I was checking in with my coach once a week, and that was super helpful for me. But becoming a coach is what has really helped me to create a higher level of commitment in this skill. Being surrounded by a community of people who are working really hard on these same skills has really helped me to work towards becoming the best version of myself and putting some space between the stimulus and response, or the triggers that come up in our day-to-day lives. It's really helped me to be encouraged to keep moving forward when things are difficult. And I just wanted to share an experience that I've had recently that's helped me with this skill. About 2 months ago, my son was serving a mission for our church in Chicago and was carjacked. And in the course of that carjacking, a pistol was put to his chest and fired. Through some miracles, he wasn't harmed, but the aftermath of that experience has been one of the biggest challenges our family has ever come across. There's been a lot of difficult things that have come as a result of that experience for him. And what I can tell you is that being plugged into this community is what has helped me to remember that I don't have to respond immediately to triggers that come up. I don't have to make those knee-jerk reactions. I'm reminded of the things that I've learned in my trainings. I'm reminded, because of this community, it's these friends and this group of coaches that has helped me to stay connected, has helped me to remember what I really want. Just the fact that I'm talking to you this morning is because part of my mentorship reached out and knew that I was struggling and I needed this community. And I can tell you that had this event happened 6 years ago, my choices would have been much different. My health would have suffered. I would have given into immediate triggers with food. I would have given into immediate triggers with my emotions. But I've been able to just pause for a minute and really think about what it is I really want. My Labrador brain tells me to isolate when things get difficult. It tells me to hide and disappear, and I don't want to talk to people and I don't want to do anything. But because I'm a coach, I'm checking in with my clients. I'm here on trainings, and that has helped me to stay connected to what my higher brain really wants for me. And that is to reach my goals. And that is to connect with people and to share experiences with other people, because that's what we really need. So I want to encourage you to talk to the person that invited you. That's your mentorship. Talk to them about some of these things that I've discussed this morning, and see if coaching is a good fit for you for reaching some of those goals. I know for me, it has been a game changer. This morning wraps up our Double the Love Challenge, but if this is something that has benefited you, and I can't imagine that it hasn't, there is more that you can do to plug into this community. If you're interested in learning more about coaching, talk to the person that invited you. We have a next step for you. You can sign up for an email campaign that will give you daily action steps and videos that will really help you to improve the goals that you have. And so I really want to encourage you to sign up for that, and the person who invited you can help you get set up with those emails. But I appreciate you hopping on this morning. I hope that this has been helpful for you, and I would encourage you to pull out your life book and your Habits of Health book and really dive a little deeper into this topic, because it's one that's so important. Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.